Okay, so greetings everyone. So we will be discussing about the practice problems on caches. So the first question that we have is more into the, the diagram of the following caches. You need to draw the diagram. So 64 line direct map right through 8 pipeline, 256 fully associative right back line, and then 404 way set associative right back 64 line. So makita na to the diagram of cache is of course composed na siya of sorry, wala pang pen, composed of a tag, right? And of course a data. But since this is an 8-byte line, so normally ang 32-bit is 4 bytes. So nahulog siya nga 2 ka book. So 2 ka data. So 2 ka data and of course write through siya so na siya gitawag na valid bit. But 8 bytes, so this is 8-byte line na siya, which is of course that is for the data. But nahulog siya nga 64 ka book line. So muna may tabo diagram. So until na siya diri sa ubos, wherein 64 ka book na valid data diri, valid bit data, and then tag. Sa 256 line fully associative right back 16 byte line, still the same, natay tag, and of course natay data. But since this is 16 byte, so 32 bit, 4 byte, so upat kabok ang pwede nito mabuhat. So the data is upat, right? Upat. And then of course there's a valid bit. But since it's right back, so na siya 30 bits last. Now, dili na siya isa, but 256 all in all. So napa na siya diri sa ubos, until sa ubos. So tag, data, 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 upat, valid bit, and of course the 30 bit. For 40969, 64 byte, of course 64 byte line. So kung i-divide mo 4, 16, diba? So nahulog na kay tag 16, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. And then of course natin siya valid and then napoy dirty bit kasi it's right back. But since it's a four-way set associative, so kani kapihon na nimo 1, the same na siya dra, 2, then 3, and then cos 4 kay four-way set associative. So kung four-way set associative, so kani i-divide po nimo siya by 4, so nahulog na siya 1, 0, 2, 4 ka lines. But it's four-way set associative, all in all, still, that's 4096 lines. Okay. So muni ang iyahang diagram for this problem. Okay, for number 2, how many or how are the bits used for addressing? So we need to determine for each of these cache kung sa 32-bit na address, kung sa may use for selecting the byte, selecting the word, indexing cache, and cache tag, and then for each of the following caches. So for our first nga cache, that is 64 line direct map right through 8 byte line. So we have said before nga kung 8 byte gani nga line, kinahanglan ta og 2 ka block data, right? So for us nga to determine ang 2 ka data using word, so nahulog siya nga either 0 or 1, so kinahanglan ta og isa ka word bit. So that is why na isa ka word bit here. But that why is it na na may 2 ka byte here? So of course, nganong na 2 ka byte bit, kay since nga 8 byte line mo na siya, kunya na kay words, say for example, na kay 0 ug 1 nga word, this is word 0 and then this is word 1. So nahulog siya nga upat na lang ka buok ang imuhang i-represent nga unsa man byte or line. So kung upat diri mo ng 8 ka buok byte line. But ang 0 ana is of course the word. So kung upat, so meaning upat na lang kabuk ang representation sa imong byte. So nahulog siya nga dapat duha gid always. So duha always and then plus 1 nga word bit, and then since it's 64 lines man siya, so direct mapping, so dapat na siya indexing gyud. So for us to select ang 64 kabuk lines, we needed pila na kabuk ay that is 6 kabuk bit. And the remaining for that will be all for the tag bits. For 256 na to nga line, of course, tanaw na to ding 16 byte line. So kung 16 byte line, as what I have said, 16 bytes, kung ang 4 byte for that is actually one word, So nahulog siya nga 4 pud ka kay buok na data atong kailangan. So that's why 4 words per line. So kinahanglan ta og 2 word bits. Inguna nato nga we needed 2 bits always, and then 2 bytes na bit always, and then 2 words given from this. And then since nga it's actually fully associative, so pwede siya bisan asa. So that's why all of the remaining bit is actually for the tag bits. Okay, for the third one, 4096 four-way set associative, write back 64-byte line. So sa 64-byte line, i-divide mo 4. So kay para na ay isa ka word. So all in all, pila man na siya? Divide 4. This is 16. 16 ka datas. So muna siya, 16 words. So ang representation for that na ma-select niya ang 16 words as we needed 4 word bits. So that's why 4 kabog word bits. And of course, in selecting the bytes in each of the word, so naidua kabog na representation. Since there are 4096 divided by 4, so nahulog siya 1024 sets. So para mag-select ng 1024 sets, kinahanglan ka og pila ka I or indexing, that is 10 bits. And the remaining for the 32-bit goes to the tag bit. Okay, so for number 3, how much overhead for the caches? So the same gyapon natong cache, 64 direct, 8 byte, 256 write back, 16 byte fully associative, and 4096 four-way set associative. So all we need to do is of course atong ansiran kung pila ang data allocated for that kind of cache, the overhead needed, and of course the percentage of data. So this is actually kung pila ang allocated yun nga data inside that certain cache. So that's it. So next. Okay, so muna yung mga answers. So makita na to nga for 64-byte direct write-through map, direct map write-through 8-byte line. So of course kaganina ningon na ta nga there are actually 64 lines. Sorry, di siya ma-write. So there are 64 lines, which is this one, and then 8 byte per line. So 64 times 8 byte, and then 502 bytes tanan, and then 4096 bits ang total na data. But when you talk about the overhead, this is the other information aside from the data. So you needed 64 lines, which is 23 bits of tag, and then isa ka valid bit, which is equal to 1536. So for this case, wala na ilabot ang ato ang index, kaning W ug ang byte bit, because we are inside the cache. So all of this is actually kuan na, kanang naan na siya, gihatag na siya nga data inside the cache. But we wanted to know kung unsa ang tag because we wanted to know kung unsa ang inside that address. So makita na to nga kung 4096 plus this, so ang data is just 70% of all 70% is allocated for the data itself for that certain cache. So for 256 fully associative write back 16 byte line, so 256, and then of course ingon ta nga 16 byte line, and then sa 16 bytes per line, so 4096 bytes or 32768 bits. So ang overhead for that is ang tag bit, the valid bit, and of course ang dirty bit since it's write back. So that's all in all 7680 bits. So makita na to nga kung i-total nimo ang data and overhead, ang data niya percentage is 81% ang allocated for that certain cache. For 4096 four-way set associative write back, so 4096, even if it's four-way, may mo tato siya 1024 lines, but since it's four-way, so nahulog yun siya nga 4096 lines gyapon. And then it's a 64-bit line, so it's times 64. So all in all, the data allocation is 2097152 bits. For the overhead, you just need the tag line, the valid bit, and of course the dirty bit because since it's right back. So that's total 73728 bits for the overhead. So kung imo nang i-total and then getting the data lang, so makita nimo nga ang allocated data for that cache is actually 97%. So makita nimo nga kaning klase-klase ng mga cache is actually lahi-lahi gid siya og result. 73 here, 81, 97. So of course, makita nato nga nganong ang allocation aning 97% is much more ang data compared to the others because the more nga magkadako ang imong line, then definitely daghan kag data ang masulod. So that's why musaka pud ang imong percentage of data for that certain cache. Okay, so for this problem, so where does the data go? So below are the fully associative, direct map, and two-way set associative, 4 entry, and then LRU caches or katong least recently used with the most recently used item at the top. So later ato nang i-discuss nganong dapat i-top na to. And then each line is 1 byte in the cache, and the DM, the direct mapping, and the set associative uses modular addressing, so show how the contents change with the access pattern of ang memory niya is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 0, 4, 0, 2. So unsay may tabo sa ato ang mga caches. Okay. So ako na lang gi-kuan tanan, gi-kompleto tanan. So cycle 0, 1, 2, 3, nadiri ang 4, ang 5, 6, 7, 8. And then of course, ang first is memory 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, no, 0, 4, 0, 2. Sorry. Nalang ko ikuan kay ni hapit na kapalong ako ang akong sa tago ni laptop. Okay. So number 1, so what will happen sa imuhang memory for the different na kuan sa tawag ni lahi-lahi nga klase nga cache. So of course here kung may 0 nga memory, of course diri 0 sa una, miss. Sa fully associative makaingon ta nga dapat anywhere unta siya, but naay instruction dito nga dapat ibutang lang nato siya sa taas until padlong sa ubos. Kung sa taas, that is the recently used yun. So ang sa ubos, that's the least recently used. So mahulog siya ang least recently used, which is nasa ubos mo nang makick out, and then ang pinaka recently used will be dito sa taas. But of course, for a fully associative, dapat bisan asa gina siya mabutang. So kung memory 0, so 0 mabutang diri ang katong data, which is a miss at first. Sa atong direct mapping, kung 0 gid ang memory, so diri gid na siya mabutang. Sa ato ang set associative, of course, dili siya anywhere but diri lang gid nga box, which is this set. But gingon nato nga ibutang lang nato siya sa taas para sa tawag na para makita nato nga sa tawag na makita nato nga mo na ang recently used. Okay? So ang M is actually miss kaya wala pa may data at that portion. So sa cycle 1, so of course recently used, that's 1 here, miss, but 0 ang least recently used. And then sa DM, 0 dira, but of course asa man ang 1 good sa memory, of course diri gyud siya but still miss. And then sa second is since 1 man siya, so diri siya nga set, which is the odd set. So here natay 0 daan, and then this one is 1, and then it's still a miss, right? So sa next cycle, which is cycle 2, memory 2 ang gi-access, so fully set associative, diri nato ibutang 1, 0, but this is a miss. Pero sa nako dili na siya gidara but anywhere, but we just wanted na to track kung kinsa ang recently used. Sa direct mapping, of course, 0, 1, 2, this is the miss gyapon. So naibag-o here 0, 1, but asa man ang second. Of course, mahumbulog siya nga ang kaning 0 diri mawala na siya. Kaya di naman na siya ang recently used. So kung ato nang i-delete, saan mo na siya pag-erase. There. And then, dirito ang 2, and then this one is 0. Right? So, but of course, this is miss kay since nga wala pa man siya 2. So, memory 3, ingon na to, diri ang 3, miss, 2, 1, 0. Ang direct mapping is 0, 1, 2, 3 gyud kay of course, mao man ang ginaset man gyud nato kung asa gyud ang iyang kuan, naka-index kumbaga nga dira gyud siya dapat. And then of course, there is atong set associative 2, 0. Instead of 1 here, mahulog ni siya nga 1 here and then a 3, miss. Tama? Okay. So that's it. So sa cycle 4, so we just wanted kung asa ang mga memory here. So asa mang gawas or kung asa siya i-kick out, kung i-kick out bagid siya, kung asa siya mabutang. Now, for cycle 4, and then memory 4, so what will happen? So recently used, butang to sa taas, but it's still missed, kaya wala may 4. This one is 3, 2, and the least recently used is 0, so gi-kick out, 1 ang nabili. For direct mapping, of course, kung mingon kag 4, that's a kauban sa imong 0. So nahulog siya nga ang 0 ang i-kick out, kaya wala man ni siya LRU ang imuhang direct mapping, kaya nakaset man gid siya kung asa siya ibutang. So ang instead of 0 here, may mo siyang 4 and then it's a miss. 1, 2, 3. Tama. And then for set associative, 4 is actually unsa man ang 4? That is even. So nahulog siya nga instead of here, this will become 4 and then 2 will go down and then 3 and 1. But 4 is miss. Tama? Okay. And then sa cycle 5, gibalik ang memory 0. So kung balik ang memory 0, so 0 will go in here, pero actually na-kick out sa imuhang first sa fully associative ang 0. So nahulog siya nga ma-miss siya 4, 3, 2. Tama? Now, sa imuhang direct mapping, wala po'y 0 na kaya na-kick out man. So 0, since mo magid niya ang iyahang set yun, so miss siya 1, 2, 3. So nibalik na inon siya sa pinakauna. And then for set associative, 0 is even. So ang 3 of 1 stays the same. Musulod ang 0, miss siya kay since 4 of 2, ang 4 mubulhin sa ubos. Tama? Okay. So sa cycle 6, what will happen? So sa fully set associative, 4 na po ang memory. But na 4 diri sa atong cycle 5 pa, di ba? So ang 4 mo nang recently used, but it's a hit. So 4, and yeah, this will become 0, and then unsa dayon? 4, 3, 2, right? 4, 0, 3, 2. Kaya na po may 0. But nanay hit ang imuhang fully associative. So, pag diri sa direct mapping, 4, right? Memory 4. So, tanaw na to ito sa cycle 5 na by 4, walay 4. So, 4 ang dara manang 4, which is kauban sa 0. So, nahulog siya nga miss, right? And then, still the same 1, 2, 3. Same ang set associative, 4 is kuan, so it's still the same diri, 3 and 1. So nahulog siya nga 4, which is a hit, right? Which is a hit. Kaya na may 4, hit. And then, mubalin ang 0 sa ubos. Okay. So that's it. But for cycle 7, 0 na pod. But mahulog nga sa imuhang fully associative, it's a hit. 4 mo subos, 3 and 2. So direct mapping, it's 0. So 0, it's a miss. 1, 2, 3. So luwi kayo ang direct mapping. And sa atong set associative, since 0 is kuan man odd, so 3 diri, 1 dara. So nana siya 0. So this is 0, hit, and then 4 sa ubos. Tama? So cycle 7 na siya. Lastly, it's memory 2. So what will happen sa fully set associative? Okay, 2 is actually hit. So 403. Direct mapping, it's 2. So na ay 2 hit. Sorry, anong drama ko gibutang? So nahulog siya nga as, where is that? Okay. 0, 1, 2, which is a hit. Kay dra ramang siya ibutang, and of course 3. But for set associative, ang mahulog is 2 siya, so even, so 3 and 1 dira, and kita ninyo nga 2 is not it's not a hit, so it's a miss, and then butang ang 0, kick out 4. So mo na ang may tabo sa imo ang data given that memory. So here makita na nimo daan nga kung unsay nindot gamiton nga fully associative ba siya, direct mapping, or set associative for this kind of memory nga gibuhat. But of course, it doesn't mean na here, kay since ang fully associative is dagan kay hit, it doesn't mean na maayo na pud siya. That's why na siya lain-lain na strategy to 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 kuan para kung unsa ang mas best na buhaton. Okay, that's it.